biographical film directed by Ben Affleck, starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, and Viola Davis. In this movie, Matt Damon plays Sonny Vaccaro. He's one of the executives at Nike, and his job is basically to help, present new products for their shoe line and also find basketball prospects that will wear them. The problem is Nike is really not very competitive with other sporting apparels when it comes to their shoes. Nobody wants to really be a part of them, wants to wear them. Basketball players really don't. It's reaching a point where Nike has to find someone to come and wear one of their shoes quickly, or the business is going to go into the toilet. And Sonny Vaccaro believes there is one prospect out there that hasn't even set foot on an NBA court yet, but he believes they should build an entire shoe line around this player. And that player just so happens to be Michael Jordan. So yeah, right there, you know exactly how the movie's going to end, but what this movie is basically the journey that Sonny Vaccaro went on to get everyone in Nike on his side, the process that he went through to get Michael Jordan to want to wear the shoe, and ultimately the process in designing the perfect basketball shoe that Michael Jordan couldn't say no to. Biopics can be some of the tougher movies to pull off, especially when they're based off of a really well-known person or a well-known business or story, which in this case, this movie, you could argue, covers all three of those. Unless you were born yesterday, you know who Michael Jordan is, you know what Nike is, and you know what Air Jordan is. It's the biggest shoe line in the world. I mean, I don't have any because I damn sure can't afford them, but yeah, it's become the biggest shoe line in the history of man, and this is a story to how that happened. So as a result, with biopics like this, you're not going into this movie for the end game, for the final act, for seeing how the movie ends, because you know how it's gonna end. Movies like this, you're invested in the journey, in the build-up to how they get there. That's what this movie is supposed to sell you on. And for me, this movie did exactly that. I was engaged with this movie from start to finish. It was the kind of story I wasn't expecting, but I was completely intrigued by. First things first, Matt Damon as Sonny Vaccaro is great in this movie. What I really loved seeing in his portrayal of Sonny Vaccaro is just the level of confidence he really had in Michael Jordan. What the movie establishes right out the gate is why Sonny Vaccaro believed in him so much. Keep in mind, this is before Michael Jordan was playing in the NBA. We know Michael Jordan now as the greatest basketball player of all time, but nobody knew, aside from apparently Sonny Vaccaro and the people close to Michael Jordan, that he was going to be that. But what I love seeing in Sonny is as he's studying tape of him, watching film of him, he knew little subtle hints here and there to why Michael Jordan was gonna be the next great one. But at the same time, you also see everything from his coworker's standpoint. It's like you want to basically put the future of this company on a kid that's never played pro. Like, that's a huge gamble, that's a huge risk. It will not only result in your job, it's going to result in everybody else's job here. And you totally get that. It's like, that's a lot of chips to move to the center of a table for a kid. And that's what I will say, I really love seeing this story. I love seeing Sonny talking to all of his fellow coworkers, trying to get them on his side, explaining why this is a good idea, explaining why this needs to happen, and also just how he was ultimately able to get Michael Jordan over to his side, how he was going to design the shoe, how he was going to make sure the NBA wouldn't get in the way of him wearing this type of shoe, and ultimately why he felt Nike was the perfect spot for Michael Jordan. There's a moment in particular when he meets with Michael Jordan's parents, and he explains to them, all right, all these other apparels and all these other sponsors are going to meet with your son. They're going to say this and they're going to say that. And, ultimately it's going to end this way. And that's why it's not going to work. And, of course, when you see the other interviews that the family has with the other apparels, he's absolutely right. The guy knew exactly what he was talking about from start to finish. He was never a bullshitter. And it made you believe in his case as if you had no idea who Michael Jordan was. But even the rest of the cast in this movie is really good. Ben Affleck's really good. It's really awesome to see him and Matt Damon in a movie together again. I really can't remember the last time they were in something together. Actually, no. They were in, what was it, The Last Duel that was last year, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know, I heard good things about that movie. I should probably see it. But I love seeing the banter between the two of them in this movie because Ben Affleck plays the CEO of Nike and he's making the whole point. It's like, with Sonny, it's like, this is a lot you're asking to put on me. It's a lot to put on the company. You know, just the way they were communicating with each other. It felt like a couple of friends who worked together. Also, other standouts in this movie, Jason Bateman and especially Chris Tucker. These guys were fucking hilarious in this movie. And that's what I'll also say right there. This movie is really funny, but not to the point where it becomes a comedy, more so in the sense of how real and authentic the dialogue felt. And that's credit that goes to the performances in this movie and also the writing. A lot of people out there are speculating how much of Air might have been ad-libbed or might have been just like, hey, put the actors in the room together, give them the story and just let them tell it themselves. You believe it because a lot of it feels very authentic and real. It feels like how guys joke around with each other. It feels like how coworkers are trying to solve a problem together. It feels like how business people pitch stuff in meetings. And for all that, it gave me such an appreciation of seeing more of the business side between sponsors and athletic wear and the athletes. It's like an area of business that I knew little to nothing about. And it really enlightened me. Also, another standout I gotta address in this movie is Viola Davis, who plays Michael Jordan's mother. I really loved her performance and also her character because I think she is a great representation of the parents of these great athletes. They want their kids to be set up for success. They want their kids to get the most out of their sport career that they can get. So when she's having these meetings with Sonny Vaccaro and Nike, and she's really not making it easy for them. She is making it like, okay, are you going to support my son in this sense? Is this shoe going to set him up for this? How is this going to work with the rest of the league? You know, it's like she wants her son to do well as an athlete, as a basketball player, because this will become his career. But ultimately, she wants to know that she's putting him in the hands of a business that's going to take care of him and not take advantage of him. You have to wonder how much all these parents are involved with their kids as they're becoming these great athletes. But in situations like this, you believe some of the most, caring parents are this hard on the sponsors because they don't want their kid getting screwed over. And I gotta tell you, when it gets down to like that final meeting between Nike and Michael Jordan, it's funny. I love that the movie did this because that's a sign of a great movie. It's like you know what the outcome is, but you're still anxiously sitting there and you're just sucked into the movie because of how the final meeting goes down. Everyone at Nike is talking to themselves. It's like, okay, this is how we have to plan this meeting. This is how it has to go. This person has to come in here. This person has to say this. You have to pitch all of this. It feels like extremely calculated, like military plan with how they're going about it. And it was awesome. Like, I almost feel like if you're a businessman, you're trying to pitch something to someone and you need to just watch that final scene in Air, the final meeting in Air, and you're going to be taking notes the whole time. Be like, okay, have this happen, have that happen. Don't invite this person, make sure that person's there. And then you'll walk out of your meeting thinking like, we got this. We got this in the bag. So all in all, I thought Air was great. The cast I thought worked great together. Matt Damon killed it as Sonny Vaccaro. I really loved seeing the very authentic dynamic between all the actors and all these characters. The writing was fantastic. Every conversation felt very authentic and pure, and it makes you wonder maybe how much of it was just the actors just ad-libbing. I'm not trying to make that a knock on the script itself. I'm like, it's either great acting or great writing or some combination of both. Probably the latter. It was a great story. It gives you a really unique perspective on the business side of these endorsements that are going after these athletes. And in the end, it's the type of story that you didn't think you needed to be told to you, but I'm glad it was. So that's all I'm gonna say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. And as always, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.